Okay, so today I'll be watching Season 1, Episode 8 of The Sopranos, and of course, the last two episodes haven't been the strongest. I gave like a C, maybe to both of them, or I gave almost like maybe a D to the Episode 6, was pretty bad, despite, again, giving you some good scenes of Junior. That's where he's like officially crowned, even though we kind of, off the record, we kind of already knew that had happened. In fact, I thought it happened in Season 1, Episode 4, but like at the funeral, but that's what even the kids said. Oh, that's like that scene from The Godfather where they're at the funeral and everything like that. But basically, Season 1, Episode 7 is, what do you call it? That was pretty weak, aside from the flashbacks were kind of cool, and that's something I almost had asked for. Like, I want to see some of these people in their prime or in their younger days. So you saw Junior, you saw, obviously, Tony's dad. I think you saw Jackie. I think that was the other guy in the car. I couldn't maybe fully catch everything that was happening, but that was like a good flashback sort of moment, almost akin to The Godfather 2, to make another Godfather reference, just The Godfather 2 where basically, you'd be in a position to see Robert De Niro as Vito as a younger version of himself, and you actually get some authentic, them speaking in their native language rather than in English all the time. And so that's maybe part of the reason why The Godfather sounds the way he does, not just that he's whatever, that's just how he sounds. He sounds like he has a throat cancer. They don't really explain it in the movie itself. Maybe in the book, I think it might say something, but like he got injured somewhere along the line, he got shot. I almost feel like that's a real thing too, or people have said that. He got shot somewhere and that somehow messed up his throat. But for all intents and purposes, it's a case where you have this full ability to look at their past and, oh no, that's just why he talks like that, Also because he's struggling to speak English because it's not his first language, but he seems pretty good with it anyway. Like you don't see too much Italian or whatever in that. But in like the Sollozzo scene, I always question like why they didn't put the subtitles there when Sollozzo's talking to Michael, because they have subtitles at other points in the movie, like in the Apollonia sequence, I think. But they must, because they're seeing, how could you not have subtitles there? But in the scene at the restaurant with Sollozzo where Michael shoots both him and McCluskey, and they're speaking in Italian to each other, they don't really give you anything to work with, so you're just supposed to go off their facial expressions and stuff. And it's one of those shill arguments that people almost make, like, well, Michael doesn't know Italian too well, so maybe it's to emulate his feeling of how he feels or whatever, or something like that, which I don't really understand the whole thing with that. Like, how can, whatever, it obviously it just is some directorial decision, but I wouldn't have let it pass like that for such a major movie. Like, just put fucking subtitles, dude. So you have to buy some special 20th anniversary edition Blu-ray fucking version to be able to actually do that. With respect to actually getting subtitles there, that's an odd scene. But yeah, this wasn't the strongest episode. What else happened? Like, just Junior and sort of them, Junior getting yelled at in, that was in this one, right? Where it's all to do with the boy finding out and everything like that. I'm pretty sure that was this episode, right? Not episode 6. I've been watching them in such broken up sections now that I'm kind of losing track. But yeah, basically, like, who is he to talk to me that way? The mother finds out that he's going to therapy. What else happened? Just the fact that she didn't let that slip to Junior, yeah, but she probably will. And then that'll make Junior treat him differently somehow. But there's a lot of things that people know that they're not letting show, or these ongoing sort of conflicts that could arise because of them, like Chris giving the kid drugs, young girl drugs. We haven't heard anything follow up with that, but he could find out at some point. Even though Chris let it slip to the Russians, I don't think they understood even what he was talking about or anything, or even English at all. And then, so that's an ongoing plot line. The wife's being all bitchy, Tony's wife, because she obviously found out that he cheated with the one girl, and obviously he's cheating with somebody else anyway, with that one girl who's like supposedly her friend. And so I don't know why she just randomly volunteered that too. Like, they're having a nice time at the party, and it's like, oh, I figured you should know this now. Like, what the fuck? It's a good friend thing to do, I guess, but it just came out of the blue. Everybody's having a good time. It's not like they're having a fight, I don't think. She's trying to, like, stick it to her passive-aggressively, but I don't see really why. And then what else? Our character point system was sitting at like a +3 for Junior, and at a -2, Tony kind of caught up some ground. He was at a -4, then he went to a -3 because of what he did, giving Junior advice, like in episode 6, I think. At the end of episode 6 at the ball game, right, let everybody eat, blah, blah, blah. And then, even though he did it in kind of an awkward way, but then he goes back to a -4 because of his clown behavior with the therapy, right, because of his ability to, or wait, no, he was at a -4, then he went to -3 because he deferred to Junior. That was in like episode 4. But then he went back to a -4 because of his clown behavior saying I love you to the therapist in episode 6. Then he went back to a -3 because he gave good advice to Junior, let everybody eat. And then he went to a -2 because of how he handled in this episode, episode 7, how he handles the kids' illness or whatever that they're saying, ADD, and he kind of writes it off like fidgeting. What constitutes fidgeting? Everybody fidgets. So just taking that more common sense approach and not letting them trick you with whatever they're doing here would be very good. But I like how the school didn't give him special treatment because of him being a mob boss or whatever. They're almost giving him negative treatment because of that somehow. I don't know. Try to control him somehow through his kid or whatever. But when they say, oh, do they know how much money we've given them? Does that mean just as donations because they're rich from their mob activities, or does it mean just because they're paying like for some private school element? I don't know. But either way, they were not too happy about that. But he handled it in a common sense way, like just all these labels and stuff that have become more common now. I mean, hey, if you want to make excuses and spit in the face of human potential and label and negate people and define them by that, more power to you, but you're not really doing people justice at all. Like, people always have issues, people always have problems, but to label it like that is some sort of negation element. Like, why can't it be that they're just lazy or hyperactive or, kids get bored easily? That's just part of being a kid. Like, why does it have to be all these magical conditions and words? Like, you just have to deal with it and, it's supposed to be just used as an excuse. Like, oh, because they're this word, we're going to treat them differently or excuse any of their bad behavior or behavior that we don't like. You can't imagine someone just behaving that way normally. Like, so then why is Tony a criminal? What condition did he have to do that? Oh, he's a sociopath. Oh, he's this or that. Like, just because you describe something a certain way, it doesn't mean it explains it or excuses it. It just kind of, that might be what you call it, but still. It's like this, oh, how could somebody possibly behave in a way that I don't approve of, or that I don't like, or that we don't want them to? It couldn't be that that's just their human self-actualization or, volition. No, it must be, oh, they're going to be doing it on purpose, or they're doing it to spite something, or they can't control it, or they don't know any better. It's like always this excuse-making mentality. So it's interesting to see this, in 1999, how this sort of subject was treated. It was sort of on the fringe idea, but instead, now in this day and age, it's like way more taken for granted. Autism or ADD, ADHD, OCD, everybody's got a label for everything. It's like, oh, you just like to be clean. Who doesn't like to be clean? But, oh, now all of a sudden you'll be labeled OCD. Or, oh, you're a little bit eccentric, so now you'll be labeled something else. It's like, these are just natural human idiosyncrasies that everybody exhibits, right? But now they're going to be called something else and given a name and treated in some sort of marginal way. So what else happened in episode 7? We saw some of the backstory. We saw when Tony first saw his dad beat somebody up and realized his family's business. So the therapist sort of probing into that. Like, you're thinking of that because the therapist was kind of being a little bit dumb, though. Like, why did this have to do with this? Or, she's like being so inquisitive and letting Tony do all the talking. But normally she has more insights. So she would almost get like a -1 point from there. But I haven't really even been caring or keeping track of her points too much. And like I said, she'd be almost a -1,000,000 just for the stupidity of not getting rid of Tony. There's no reason for either of these people to still be in this relationship. Like, Tony said, I love you, you get rid of him then, or the fact that he's a mob boss. Like, there's a million red flags with Tony, so get rid of him. So I don't know what her deal is. She's just intrigued, or she's actually trying to help, or she's actually like a mole or a spy who's trying to get him to reveal information, and she's going to rat him out at some point, which he easily could do, I guess. He's told her so many specific pieces of information. Like, he's not masking at all the way, So at first you think he starts stalking her and having that investigator follow her because, I want to make sure that she's not, she couldn't potentially leak some of this information, right, to somebody else. But the reason why that doesn't work is because now he's even saying openly, I love her. So now at first that guy just joked about it, and I kind of did too. Like, it's because he's actually into her. He's actually jealous. That's why he beat her boyfriend up and stuff like this. But then it turns into something else because it's like, now you get to do it in such a way that you're actually openly saying that, but you neither change from her nor she changes from you. So it makes no fucking sense. Like, I don't know, it's a red flag for both of them. Tony's worried about her potentially snitching on him, but he still keeps going to her, and he still keeps saying open things that are explicitly about crime. Like, this is when I buried my first body, or this is when my dad did this crime, or this is when somebody else did that crime. Like, at least something in the ancient past, you can't really do anything. There's a statute of limitations or something like that, but some of the stuff, even in the modern time, he's not using innuendo or analogy, maybe not to insult her intelligence because she kind of knows, but, she was perceptive on that right from the get-go in the first episode, but you still try to dress it up and pretend like, waste management consultant. And she already knew because she was recommended by his neighbor, right, Dr. Cusimano or whatever, and so he would have told her something, right, they would have at least known. And so the reason why he chose her was just because she's Italian, I guess. Not because, of the attraction element, or he wouldn't have known really, but maybe he wanted a female therapist anyway. I mean, that's very pathetic, and it goes against the whole masculine, macho vibe that you'd like to give off. Right, that's why he's almost embarrassed to go there, and that's going to come to a head actually in a relevant way that Junior's going to find out, and that's going to lead to him being treated differently. So therapy is such a stigma amongst these people, but not only do you go to therapy, not only do you go so much, not only do you leak information without innuendo and kind of analogy and saying, waste management, we had to waste somebody today, from their job, but, it's just... That's one of the most interesting things about mob stories is sometimes the way they talk about these things. Something so serious can be revealed in such a basic way. Like, everybody loves that line from The Godfather, like, Paulie won't see him no more. Like, just basic things like that. Which means, obviously, they whacked them. We saw that leave the gun, take the cannoli scene. So it's like, it's such a casual part of life, or at least that's how they reveal it in such a casual way. And so... And Junior is sort of a master of that with the mom. Like, and the mom proved herself to be more smart than we thought. Like, she knew the word capo regime, which is kind of a confusion, too, because I kept saying capo regime is like what Tony is, a capo, and then Junior is just the boss. But she said, ever since becoming capo regime, he's been insufferable. But, I don't know, I think that was either a mistake by her because, she's just senile, or... But even the fact that she knows that much, that's the first time, really, as a viewer, you're told that she knows about the business. Because she always called her husband a saint, and she always said, certain things like that. Like, maybe she never knew that he was even into crime, but obviously she did. And then Tony comes to her, like, with some question, like, you never let him leave that one day that he wanted to and go with Rocco or somebody. Maybe if he had, he wouldn't have... whatever, and she's being all spiteful towards him too because she found out that he's in therapy and she's blaming it on him, like, he's probably complaining about me, which in part at least he is, but he's also stuck up for her at times, like, I don't hate my mother, and he stormed out, but again, every time he storms out, he just keeps coming right back, so either that means she's right or he's just a clown or whatever, but the reality is on the flip side that you get to consider the fact that ultimately you have, ultimately you have the simple capability to basically look at, like, why is the therapist still doing this, right? He's admitted to being a criminal, he's fixed your car. I think she's kind of into that stuff a little bit, like how, he's having her stalked, which he's smart enough to know. Has somebody been following me, like the guy who beat up her boyfriend? So all this kind of crazy crap is happening ever since you started seeing him, and And then that guy's revealed is so pathetic that I guess ultimately she breaks up with him because of that, or she's trying to role play as a therapist, roll with him in like the car and stuff. But I don't know. It's just, even they're saying like, can you prescribe something or whatever, and she's like, I'm your date, not your therapist. Like, what the fuck? That's like an interesting date with benefits. What is this, like GTA, where you get to, you're dating a lawyer, a paralegal, so she gets you off the hook. You can call her, like it's one of those friend favorite things. So you call her in GTA 4 and you say, well, oh, haha, we get to get off a 1-star, 2-star wanted level. That's a fun way to sort of make that rewarding. Like, you go on dates with characters just as some sort of sim element in GTA 4. And obviously a lot of these things are heavily influenced by, the same sort of sphere. So I'm sure there's references that we get one way or another that I never understood. Like, maybe GTA games have reference to the Sopranos, or maybe certain other shows or movies or things have sort of made a nod to it. But more so, it's kind of making nods to too many things too overtly. Like, all these mobster movies and stuff that it's trying to riff off or reference to and things like that. Right, I wasn't expecting that to be such a big thing. And it's, again, I kind of criticize that it's sort of a wannabe tendency, that I don't really like them doing that so much and so conspicuously and overtly. So as I sometimes do, we'll start with this little ASMR eating clown show, which I don't really like to do, but just for a little bit. It doesn't last like the whole episode. But see, this is why I sometimes don't read the episode titles, because it's like The Legend of Tennessee Moltisanti. So I know from like Google, just for whatever reason, I looked up some of the characters' names, because I didn't know them off the top, without spoiling anything, but I know that Christopher's last name is Moltisanti, so we know that's going to have to do something with that. Maybe that was his dad or somebody related to him, Tennessee Moltisanti. But basically, it's weird that, as much as you have to do this in the landscape mode, I think I hopefully finally fixed my little fucking phone thing. The little phone stand air vent thing that we keep having issues with, which is the main reason why I try to never pause during these. But this is one instance where I have to, where if the thing falls out, then I can't see it in any form. Even though normally I'm not seeing it like full on, I'm just seeing it like a little bit. Occasionally out of the corner of my eye, whatever. But, whatever, it's not like you always need to see everything anyway, but you got the subtitles on there too. But no, the HBO Max thing doesn't let you see it in vertical. Like, see, as you're going to choose what to watch, you can't see it in landscape, right? Because the phone's at the same position. So it makes you see that stuff vertically, and then it makes you see the video landscape only. Both should have the option. If you're looking through the menu while driving and you're just trying to, scroll through whatever, something gets interrupted and fucks up, and you want to choose what to watch, you can't do that either, where you can't choose what to watch in landscape mode, like the horizontal, and then you also can't choose, and you also can't watch the video itself in vertical, right? So it just forces you to fuck up and use them both in different ways. So we'll start episode 8 in 1, 2, 3. You get the little HBO Max thing here. And so we just do the first part like this, right? So it starts off with the intro song, which I don't like. I prefer when there's a scene before it, which the last couple episodes I feel have been without that. Yeah, the last couple of episodes have not been very strong, actually, though. But the only condition I said that I'll stop watching this one is if Tony gets to a -10, but he's back to a -2 because of his good decisions with the whole psychiatry business or whatever, the ADD diagnosis with his kid or whatever. Yeah, the show overall has been good, but maybe not as great as it's made out to be, but it would have certainly gotten a lot of credit for its, it would have gotten a lot of credit for its novelty in the genre at the time, which I feel like in this day and age has become much more normal, but at the time it was probably a pretty unique thing, combined the sort of comedy, the subject matter, everything like that. So Chris was up to some good last episode too. He's kind of like me, I was saying, like, where he can be hyper efficient in certain ways, but also kind of bitchy or maybe lazy in others, so it's like you can get away with it. So just anecdotally, I've been like that in certain work environments. Like, I can be a little bit laid back, but then when it comes down to do something, I do it well enough where I can get away with it. That's why nobody can question you. So Chris is always complaining and hot-headed and impulsive in every scene, but he's also so well-desired. And as we speak of him, obviously, because of the name of the episode, that's why I sometimes don't even like to look at the names. So he's going to have a flashback now, too. Like the last episode was Tony having flashbacks. Or maybe it'll have to do with somebody finding out about the speed thing, too. Tony's forgiven him for a lot of things, so that's part of Tony's humility that I always talk about. But it feels kind of forced. Two characters almost feel forced. Chris maybe should have been out of the fold already for some of the shit he's done. And then also, got a little innuendo here. I'm not the only one doing ASMR eating. But also, the therapist is in there too much, maybe unjustifiably. There's a dream sequence kind of like what we saw for Tony in the therapist's office and stuff like that. Black Forest, isn't that like a cake? Who needs to watch, oh, he's pretty laid back. This is kind of a fucking dark scene. That was kind of a slow-paced dream, though, for horror. Sopranos, try not to get scared challenge. But yeah, Chris has a certain swag, but he's always kind of bitchy, or like I said, he's always complaining or having some other issue, too. Yeah, because clearly you'd never cheat on your wife, so why would you ever ask that? She's out of the nursing home finally. This is obviously the guy from Goodfellas who tried to start up a restaurant with Henry because Joe Pesci beat the shit out of him. I mean, that's just what I know him from. I'm sure he's been on other things, but so many fucking actors in this are from Goodfellas. What is OC? Oh, he's feeling important. Like, they'll be after me because I'm a big shot, but he just wants to be. He's the boss. Oh, that's a good tactic. Make them think that cops are after them, like, after everybody, so they leave, and then somebody else takes over the territory in that time. Right, so the Albanians could be spreading this rumor just to make them think that. Oh, Tony's doing a good job advising without seeming like he's sticking him up. Do some spring cleaning. Oh, wow. Tony almost gets a +1 for that. Or actually, he does, so he's a -1. He's been racking him up. The way he keeps doing that, where he's not showing up, Junior, but he's still kind of guiding him and making him feel like he's in control, even though he is in control. Which I don't know even what that entails, but he's cleaning up his house. As if you shouldn't already be prepared. This is actually a -1. It cancels it out. Why should you need to do this? This should already be done. You should be ready for any eventuality at any time. You think Red John would be like this? Oh, I gotta clean out my house because Jane suspects me. It's like when Henry Hill has to flush the shit down the toilet, or his wife doesn't, or Karen doesn't, he gets pissed. She's always so bitchy. The daughter is all fucking aware of everything anyway. Really, that's what you gotta worry about? That's not a crime, is it? Unless he's got certain age considerations and that. Yeah, it'll be dirty cops who just want a piece of the action. Or it was. Why was he looking at it? Why was he looking like for more? But no, that was a quick +1, -1, legit. Why should you need to clean your house out, Tony? You should already have that prepared. Right? Everything should be so inconspicuous that you wouldn't know. They wouldn't be able to find it anyway because you're prepared for that kind of situation. Everything is hidden or everything is well protected, so you should be more prepared. So that's a -1, but you got the +1 for Junior, so it's still at a -2. That's an interesting back-to-back. A truly great character wouldn't be, oh, is he going to fucking Hollywood? Or is that what he's writing? Tennessee Moltisanti? Yeah, Tony is, or Chris is always bitchy like that. Just make it a dialogue. Make it a play. She's trying to be a little bit too smart. Yeah, this is Grammarly, Italian Grammarly back in the day. Why would you use your real last name, dude? But he's gonna be like, he's gonna like snitch on everybody, as if he didn't have more of a reason to be pissed at him, Tony, for selling drugs to his daughter. Now, he was so mad about this implication that he might. See, oh shit, he gets a. That would have been a +1, but she cucked it right away. Fucking cuck bitch. She made it. Why is he being open about writing, too? Like, writing what? This is the first time we've seen any real interest in this. The therapist looks so concerned, like she's somehow in on it. See, they know that so easily. Junior Soprano. They just say it openly. Oh yeah, now try to hide it from your family, Tony, that you're in the mob. Yeah, speaking of Tarantino, we got a Tarantino technique right there. Chris's wife's girlfriend's feet up on the fucking, on his lap. He's always has like an inferiority complex. He almost wants them. He wants them to mention his name. He's not important enough. I don't know what it means. Ginzo. Oh. Oh, now she's gonna let it slip. Oh, should they? Everybody just assumed that. Why'd you just do it? Oh, here we go, man. Yeah, that's what I've been saying the whole time. Yeah, but why not you? They're assuming a lot in this conversation. No, maybe just pizza, yeah. Oh shit, I predicted that. He's gonna mention pizza. She's being very defensive of him, though. But that was probably just 5,000 known people. But I don't like the whole over-interest in the therapist and how much they're emphasizing that too much. That whole point has been something I've criticized from the beginning. Right, they've overdone it. It was cute as a little gimmick in the first episode, but Junior keeps having these spats with what do you call it? She always says that. But no, every time Tony suggests something, he gets mad, or somebody's looking at Tony's opinion. Or when he's arguing at the dinner table, talking about the mob activities, like with the little kid. Right, Tony didn't like it. He's getting them food or what? Doing some basic errand? Oh, he's got something to prove. Chris has got something to prove. This would be like a major -1 for him, honestly. This is a net -1. Be honest. You are nothing to worry about, dude. You want fucking pastries? What is this? What do you want to be, the Joe Pesci, the Santino of this story? Come on, man. You're too hot-headed. You're trying to cover up your... Everybody's trying to cover up their trail, and you're fucking making a big fuss and shooting at some pastry guy. Doing the opposite. This is a clear -1. Why you got to draw attention to yourself like this so conspicuous? Now he'll still pay for it in good manners. Can I get the check, please, after I shoot somebody in cold blood in public, or he'll probably call the fucking cops, actually. Oh shit, Spider gets his revenge. That must be a in-joke actual reference. Because he gets his foot shot as Spider when he's serving everybody in Goodfellas by Joe Pesci. They're doing it to like send a message. Forward-thinking plan. Give me a break. He's upset that he's not getting indicted. He's always like that, though. He's always in a fucking bad mood. Maybe he needs to go to your therapist, too, dude. He's getting mad. And he was such a clown that he got himself killed, though. Nobody respects Chris, but it's a kind of double-edged sword. You want to keep a low profile because then you can get away with everything. You don't want to be hot-dogging it in the front. So that's the one thing about Junior that's been kind of questionable. But no, Chris is at a -1 for being such a clown this episode. Right? He's been net neutral the whole way, but he's done nothing really good. Everybody else pretty much is the same. Tony was going to be at a minus. Tony was about to get a -1. The mom can be smarter then. She must actually want something. Oh, look, she's so sharp. What is Tony waiting for there even? So he probably has, but you probably do because you're a bitch. Oh, that kind of worked. What does she actually want, though? Or like, oh, I get it. She's trying to get her out of there so he can remove some evidence maybe that she would have. But what would she really have? Go through her shit in her room and make sure there's nothing incriminating. Oh, shit. If that's true, that's pretty smart. Okay, Tony gets the plus. Tony's been trying to farm points. So he would have gotten a +1 because he, I didn't understand what was happening there. Okay. So, Tony would have gotten a +1 for, for giving Junior advice. So he'd be at a -1, but then he went back to a -2 because he wasn't prepared in his house. But now he gets the +1 for this little gambit on the thing. So now he is at a -1. Gambit to send her out to get rid of all her shit and see if there's anything like incriminating. Or he'll just take everything. Or what is he even doing? Or is he, what? He's putting stuff in there? That seems like a dumb idea. Maybe it won't be a +1 then. Like she won't find that or somebody will stumble across that? You're like framing your mom, not that he's really trying to, but what the fuck is he doing? Why does it seem like the subtitles aren't working here either? I can't tell. It seems like he's putting stuff in there more so than he's actually... Okay, that's not a +1 then. Oh, he's being so dramatic. The news. Everybody cares about the fucking news, dude. You make it a big talking point. Or you shouldn't call the house anyway, because then the wife always thinks she's cheating on you. You gotta hide the script that you're fucking around with. It doesn't mean that you're using real names, but he is dumb enough that he is. So Chris is -1. Tony is still -2. I think, actually. We almost have to review. Or you stand at home all day trying to... So we got interrupted by a phone call, so now the timestamp's going to be all fucked up. So I'll start in a second. But let's review one point, which is simply, Tony was at -4, right? Then he goes to -3 because he gives Junior the crown in episode 4. Then he goes back to -4 because he's a clown in episode 6. But then he goes back to -3 again because in episode 6 he also gives Junior the good advice and whatever at the ball game, right? So he's a -3. Then in episode 7, he deals with the ADD thing, so he's at a -2. But now this episode, he was at, from a -2, he went down to a -1, right? And then because he gave Junior good advice again in the guise of something else, right? He's sort of deferring to him, but also giving good advice. Then he goes back to a -2 because he wasn't prepared with his house and all this kind of stuff. Then he was about to go back to a -1 with what he did with the mom, getting her out of there, that was kind of smart. But the way that he, I mean, where else is he supposed to put it? But no, I thought it was more that he was going to take shit out of there. The fact that he put stuff in there doesn't really make sense, because now what if somebody finds it there, right? Like, what sense is that going to make? I don't... That should almost be a +1, but it's not quite. It's like borderline +1, because I appreciate the idea behind it, getting her out of there, having the mom come, having the wife come to do it, and so the point being that... and so she did have an ulterior motive. She just couldn't imagine what it was, or it has something to do with the news, blah, blah, blah. The point being that, obviously, that's kind of weak, too. You find out from the news, like, you know, everybody's panicking. Like, you should know ahead of time if you're the mom and you're in it, not when the public finds out that, oh, some shit is going on. But they're doing it conspicuously to try to prove a point, whatever. You know, that, oh, look at us cracking down on the mob. So the point being that we have a situation of... that's a borderline +1. Chris is a -1 for all his clown behavior, like at the bakery and stuff like that. So he's a -1, Chris. And then you get to... basically, Chris is -1, Junior's still +3, Tony is still -2, but he's borderline -1. So that's what that one almost did. I almost want to give it to him, but I don't get it, because that'll come back to bite him. It'd be one thing, it would have been a +1 if he removed stuff from there. Like, oh, I want to remove evidence, but it looked more like, and didn't put anything. It looks like he put stuff there. So you're hiding stuff in your mom's nursing home? Like, what kind of fucking stupid thing is that to do? So that kind of equalizes out the smartness of planning. See, those little Gambit sort of plan type moments I like in these stories, like the Tessio putting the gun behind the toilet, right? So Michael can go to the bathroom unarmed and then grab it and then shoot the guys. The point being that, you know, that was like a Gambit move, try to get the mom out of there, try to get, you know, give the guy, the pizza guy, whatever, the restaurant guy, a vacation, tickets to go on a vacation, so that now you can basically have the hit take place somewhere else, because the restaurant won't be open, right? That was going to happen in episode 1, so all those kind of things, even though that didn't really work. So we're starting from -2315, I think it's 15, yeah, -2315 in 3, 2, 1, go. He's busy writing his fucking book. Don't say it, though, like you did in the first episode. That was a pretty quick deduction. Yeah, he's done a lot of clown things. Why are you being so open about the movie script thing when I guess you won't, he's being pretty open. He's got so many things to hide. This guy's pretty cynical. He's got to hide the speed selling to the daughter. Oh, here we go. You had your chance in episode 5. Do you want your girlfriend to leave you? Chris is like a fucking crybaby. Really? You can't handle like one hit? He's trying to analyze his fucking dreams. But no, the point is, Chris has to hide the fact that he sold speed to the daughter. He has to hide the fact that he's writing a script and possibly snitching everybody out. He has to hide the fact that he shot the kid's foot. Like, how many fucking things you got it going on? So, he's definitely a -1 right now, overall. Or is he going back to where they buried that body? Maybe other people bury them in the marsh, like how they say in The Departed, when I tell you to dump a body in the marsh. Wait, you don't keep growing shit like that when you're dead, do you? That doesn't make sense. Is it going to be coincidentally on her land that... She's kind of cute in this scene. The way she's so on point with the comeback for everything. But she's got a real mouth on her here. This is a little heavy-handed, but no, she was in such a good mood there, and she was kind of cute without glasses. Like, just she was on point there. That's almost a +1, but it's just random banter. But she was so talking shit to him so comfortably. Like, she's normally more guarded than that. Even when she's not in her therapy office, she's just so laid back there. I kind of like that. Just talking shit to her ex-husband. Yeah, finally he's getting some tough love from Tony. Tony's been kind of nice to him the whole time, but... Oh, he found out. Yeah, actually, that's true. Yeah, you're worried that you want to cover something up, but then in the process you reveal it, so it's kind of a double-edged sword. Red John did that. They're building a mall, and Red John buried a body. So he goes to dig up the body because it had DNA from him, because it caught him by surprise. DNA from him caught him by surprise. Carter peeked. Classic moment, but he did it right, dude. You're no Red John, bitch. You have to go get it checked at a doctor. You do have some issues, though. You're shooting a guy randomly in public. Maybe you should go to therapy. Go to my therapist. But that was at least a deserved scene by Tony of finally holding Chris a little accountable. He's been doing a little too much wild shit. He's kind of talking shit about all the things that Tony's doing. Therapy. Oh, killing yourself. He wants to go out with a bang, but not like that. More like he wouldn't mind getting killed by somebody and being remembered, like how Brendan was. He's like a father figure to him, but it's just kind of weird. I don't know. Tony's just on edge a lot. Could be the cops. Or they got rid of so much shit from their house, too. It looks kind of more... Oh, shit, FBI. We need, like, a smart Asian character to try to catch him. They're being nice and cordial about it. They came prepared, though. But, see, he was ready for that, but whatever. It was good enough. He survived. They gave him the warning on the fucking news. Why didn't you send the people first and then say, hey, we busted Tony Soprano, and now we're kicking down the mafia, instead of, oh, we're gonna be busting down these people, so here we are. We're on the way. You better cover your evidence. Oh, good one. Trying to bribe you. There'll be something that they didn't think about. Or, oh, they'll find the speed. They'll find the drugs. But she knew. She knew. Talking shit to the cops. Everybody's concerned about their little quadrant. Don't fuck with Carmela's kitchen. Don't fuck with the kid's computer. Tony's got some good one-liners here. They're being kind of nice to him, though, in a way, like that one guy. But no, that's the best way. Get them mad at you, and then that'll disqualify their investigation. Because he'll say something. Oh, shit, I fell for the act, I guess. He's more offended by that than anything. How did he get robbed? I've never heard that before. I like how snarky the daughter can be in a situation like that. That would have been a good moment, though, if she found the speed. If the FBI found the speed from the daughter that she was hiding from the family. Like, where did you get this? And then they'll find out Chris did it. That could have been a good way to reveal it. You don't need a fork to eat it. You can eat it with chopsticks. Fuck. This is a pretty funny scene. Okay, we get it. You're proud of being Italian. Chill the fuck out, dude. You're really gonna do that one? Or that's a good way to get rid of him? This is like a childish back and forth. Storm out again. Storm out, count 5. That is what it's all about. Wow, you just realized that. Oh, so... It's a good way to test it. Yeah, you wouldn't want the money if you cared. Yeah, like maybe you just let that one go, but now are you going to come back again even after that? Like, what would it take for you to stop coming back? Maybe that's her way to try to get rid of him. He's suffering under the stress that Tony was too much of a clown to try to face himself by being the boss. Bad apple as in Chris or what? There we go. She let it slip. How did she know for a while, though? Possibly snitching on the mob, which he actually is doing. Oh shit, there we go. Now you can use that against Tony, dude. Junior's the best, man. Junior's the GOAT. You're setting him up to be one of the greatest villains of all time. He's gonna tail him. How did he find out even? Oh, the kid told her. How many times are you gonna ask that? Yeah. That word is just such a stigma. Which it really is a clown show. If you can't handle it, that's always my philosophy. If you can't handle something, don't do it. Don't hide behind therapy and drugs and this and that. Oh, he's happy about that. Dude, Christopher's an attention whore. Fuck. So that's her shrink there. Everybody's in about this. Like, she just mentioned it in passing in the fucking... He's just mad about money. I'm revolted by how greedy you were. Fuck that. I guess that wants to be her, though. The whole thing is just a big joke. Yeah. It is funny. He's a clown. He's a clown. Oh, boo-hoo, you're in the mob. It's so stressful. You can't handle it. You're not even man enough to be a bad person correctly. You're not even good at being bad, you dumb fucking shit clown. It's not a moral argument. It's an ability argument. Junior's gonna run fucking circles around your clown ass. Must be some big name that we don't know. Okay, so what's the point? Everybody's got to flex about their fucking race and stuff in this episode. But yeah, don't make excuses and hide behind therapy and drugs and stuff was my whole point. So Chris is still sitting -1, Junior is still +3, Tony is still -2. He was almost -1 because of the whole thing, getting the mother out of there, but I'll leave it for now. That's interesting to see. Junior's going to have a lot of ammunition up his pocket, like the speed thing potentially for Chris, the quiet Bobby Ruffalo. This guy's too much of an attention whore, but he already got his -1 though here. Take all the newspapers so nobody else can read them. Not because you're trying to cover up evidence, but because you're just attention hungry. That's such a weird thing for a mobster to want. I want recognition, even though that recognition is going to get you caught. Well, not always. Like, you could be a made man, but, you know, you want to... Tony has the right idea there. He wants to lay low and not stand out. And the reason why... That was a solid episode, maybe like a B, but there was no... They keep dancing around the same shit over and over. The therapy thing, the psychiatry thing, the whatever. Like what was kind of the major thing? Just the indictments and stuff was the big plot line. It was at least better than the last two, but yeah, there's a lot of those ongoing things that haven't been talked about. Like, the wife still hasn't admitted that she knows that he cheated with the girl, right, on her. Then Chris obviously giving the speed to the daughter, they don't know about that. I thought the FBI situation would have been a good opportunity to at least expose that. Like, now we get to basically do it in such a way that we can show that. Like, they could have found it inadvertently, but the daughter overheard it, so she would have known and she would have hit it. But that would have been a cool scene, right? Like, the FBI finds the speed and she's like, oh shit, I forgot about that, or whatever. She wasn't expecting it if she didn't overhear it. And then now it's like, where the fuck did you get that? And then they have to rat out Chris, and then whatever. And so the point is, wasn't somebody asking her and they said, there's no way I'll tell you where I got it? But that was somebody else, I can't remember. Like, she was being all defensive. But at least I don't think that's been discussed by the family. Right? No, nobody's done that, but that speed thing can come back into play, the cheating can come back into play. These are just things that are kind of left hanging, and I kind of like those because it adds some tension and explains some of the, you'll know, like, oh, the wife's being bitchy because of this, but even Tony doesn't know, and she won't say it outright explicitly. And then now Junior has this trump card up his sleeve with the psychiatry, and he also has, now Junior will have somebody follow Tony, who's having somebody follow his own therapist, so like everybody's following everybody. And what else? That guy's writing this fucking script, Chris. And you had like a Tarantino caliber scene there with the girl putting her feet on his lap, like right up in the camera, right after they mentioned Tarantino. But basically, you're in a position of, Junior has ammunition, the psychiatry thing. Christopher has some clown behavior. The bakery, that was definitely a clown move. So he's always gotten like a minus for certain things, but then he gets a plus to make it back up. This is the first time he's got a net minus where he didn't do anything this episode to make it back up. In fact, he's even still clowning around now. So he has some sort of an inferiority complex, and he wants some recognition one way or another. He can't get it from the mob, so he wants it almost from the public. And so you got Chris not looking too good this episode. Tony was pretty good this episode, but it's like, I'm judging him by high standards, so it's kind of like I always say this expression, like, people use their kids as an excuse. Oh, I had to do this because to put food on the table for my kids. But if you can't handle kids, then don't have them. It's the same thing here, like heavy lies the crown. If you can't handle what you're doing, Tony, then don't do it. Oh, boo-hoo, we feel bad for you that you're a mob boss and you got all these perks and stuff. You can't handle it. You got to go to therapy. You got to use Prozac. You got to, you're having all this trouble. It's like, that's your fault. Like, you know what I mean? Like, oh, I'm a doctor making 6 figures, and it's so stressful. I'm so stressed out. Well, then, okay, go work at McDonald's, and that might be less stressful for you, which will also make less money. So you have to balance the two. How much can you handle? How much do you want to do? And how much do you get from it? Right? So you don't feel bad for somebody like, oh, what a tough job, because they should be getting paid proportional to it. There's a few exceptions to that, like, sure, police don't get paid enough for what they have to deal with. Firefighters don't necessarily get paid enough. Things like that, army, people in the army. I mean, there's some good pensions and stuff with that, but still, those are some rare exceptions. But usually, in this case too, it's a question not, oh, you're doing something bad. Like, it doesn't matter. Okay, you can do something good, bad, whatever. I'm being objective, at least in the context of a fictional story, right? That's why I keep bringing up Red John from The Mentalist or somebody like that. It's like, this dude heard, like, let's just analyze this. This dude heard, oh, they're building a shopping mall over here. And he knows off the top of his fucking head that, oh shit, they're going to dig up the body that I put there years ago. And I know to go there and get it, because that was the one instance where I got caught by surprise by that guy, and I left some DNA evidence on him or whatever. So now I'll go and grab the body from there and take it before anybody finds out. Like, who the fuck do you think you're fucking with? Like, this dude is a goat. That's one of my favorite moments from the show, because it's like, he's so on top of it. He remembers of all his victims, of all the things over the years. He knows as soon as he's so on top of every single one, he hears, oh, there's a mall or garage being built there, so I'm going to go dig it up, and then I'm going to make sure nobody finds it, and then I'm going to get rid of it. Why he wouldn't just burn it in the first place or something, I don't know. But whatever it is, like, he gets rid of that shit right on cue. So that's the thing, is like, the one bad thing that Tony showed here, even though he was still relatively impressive, is just the fact that he's getting rid of the shit from his house. Well, why should you need to hear about, either from rumor or from the news, that, oh, the indictments are coming down? Why shouldn't it just... So in other words, if that was you just got lucky then. Whoever they did the indictments on, if you were them, you would have been caught. You would have been over. You got the warning that you were the second to go, right? They came for somebody else first, then you get the warning. If they came for you first, you would have been done, because you weren't ready for that situation. But somebody truly prepared would not wait for that. His house would have already been spick and span and clean, and the only drugs they might have found were the daughters. See, that's just like an interesting way to write it. I'm not saying that had to happen, or it's a bad thing that it didn't happen. The daughter overheard it too, so she was saying, I would have left out that scene and had them find the speed, just to bring that topic up. That would have been a great way to reveal it. So, like, the daughter doesn't overhear what they're talking about, so she doesn't think that cops are coming, so she doesn't tell the boy, oh, delete your porn off the computer, And so if you do that, then now, oh no, the FBI are caught by surprise. You come in and they find nothing except for the speed that the daughter has, and now that causes some kind of problem. Like, why the fuck do you have the speed? That's the perfect way to reveal it. I would have loved that, actually. It almost felt like that's what they were going to do. Maybe she forgot about it, or thought she hid it, but it's still there, right? Or maybe she doesn't have it anymore. Like, she used it and she didn't get any more, or she could be getting hooked on it or something. But yeah, that you got from Chris, who's clowning it up. This is the Chris goes full clown mode. Could be, I was going to use that for the title for one of these other episodes, but there's too many different titles that are good. Like, this guy's not Junior, he's Major. I wanted that to be episode 6, but also, that was the same one where Tony goes full clown mode. So yeah, now Junior has that in his back pocket. That's just a high standard that I hold these people to, though, where it's like, you have to consider, and like comedians fucking dog shit, you have to consider the simple fact that you have, why can't we have some old granny hecklers for that clown? The therapist with the money, right, asking for the thing, like, but he'll still come crawling back because he's a fucking clown, and she'll still keep seeing him because this is a plot device. Like, realistically, okay, let him go, right? Get rid of him. But no, Tony's still going to come back, and she's still going to come back to, keep doing sessions with him. Why? Because the story requires it, because they just want her to be a main character, apparently. Like, I don't know why. She's a good actress, the character's smart, but there's no need for it. Like, she's just a therapist. Like, why? This is not the therapist, this is the Sopranos. Like, it's not about the Freudian, whatever, the Freuds. Like, they're not... She doesn't have to be a main character. She's just there in the background, whatever. They're overdoing it. Oh, he loves her. Oh, all this kind of crazy crap. So that's going to keep going now. I already figured them out. I really thought she'd be in an episode or two, a couple here and there. She's been in, like, every single one, and we're seeing her family, and we're seeing all these little fucking things. Like, come on, dude.